Okay, we are back for Salty Saturday, week 4 matches 2 and 3. So sorry about the break that had to happen, but due to miscuing, the first series was over, then a sweep should have been.
Yeah, that was certainly a fast series, but we have this second series coming up, and we even have the bands. It looks like it's another shaman, so we may. Well, we actually, I was gonna say we may not see a shaman all night, but we kind of already did. Feels bad.
Yeah, double shaman bands, and Salt has an interesting lineup. He has both druid and priest and rogue, so no warrior. His shaman's banned, so he's kind of got the less common classes, the ones that people bring about 50% of the time, if that.
Well, that just makes it more fun to cast, right?
Yes, and Kicked Tripod has Mage, Priest, and Warrior. So interesting that we were talking about it before we went live, that Kicked Tripod has Mage but left Druid and Priest up. So if that's a Reno Mage, it's probably not winning very often in this Conquest series. So it might not. It might be Tempo Mage. We'll see.
I hope. Yeah, we've seen Tempo Mage just kind of very slowly peeking its head over the horizon once again, just kind of trying to push past the mage juggernaut that is Reno Mage. But I mean, I can see arguments for it. We saw it do well in the Trinity series this past week for liquid or for LG rather.
Yeah, it's not a bad deck with the right matchups, and it shines in THL where you get to see things going badly in ahead of time.
Yes, very easily. If you I was a little bit concerned this week because for instance, like I had Druid and Hunter, and then with the assumption that my opponent was going to bring both Reno Mage and Reno Lock, and then as soon as he didn't bring Reno Lock, I was a little concerned. I was like, uh-oh, this I have a Hunter and he is missing one of the classes I counter, so this could go poorly.
Speaking of Hunter, we will see that also tonight.
That's
Tonight's a
that's I'm too excited for that.
very interesting, unless it gets banned, but I doubt
It
it.
better not get banned. I'll be really upset if it does.
Yeah, so yeah, Druid Priest Rogue versus Mage Priest Warrior. So yeah, really different lineups. We usually see a lot of the same, but
The only
there's a lot
common
of
one is
differences.
Priest.
Oh,
So
and should also mention that Team NWA and Team Well Met. So Salt's on NWA, he's the captain. Team Well Met is Kicked Tripods, and it's currently 9-6 in favor of NWA, and NWA is just narrowly under Team Well Met in the standings. So a win would be huge because they would piggyback over them.
oh, that would be yeah, that's an important one. It's actually kind of important for me too because I am in the division with both of these teams. So I'll be watching this with a little bit of interest.
Haha. Positives and negatives to being on stream.
Yes, Barry.
So
I'll be
yeah,
having to do
yellow
some scouting.
divisions pretty interesting. I haven't been paying too close to the yellow and black. I'm blue and pink, but definitely for the playoffs. So right now, Kicked Tripod's kind of missing. So oh, there we go. He's back now. Woo!
Yep. All
So yeah,
right.
so I'll be interested to see what they both queue up first. Everything's so weird. I think Salt might feel good about maybe queuing up either priest or druid. I think if anything has the possibility to struggle, it's Salt's rogue. It
Yes, I would
re-
agree.
it really needs to find priest, ideally.
Yeah, and it is. It looks like yeah. From Kick Tripod is going to be bringing a Reno Mage, as a matter of fact.
Wow. So that
That's a bold
struggles a
choice.
lot in against Dragon Priest and against most druids. Not sure which one Salt's playing.
Oh yeah, and if it's Jade Druid, that's gonna be a tough time for that mage. Jade Druid, or even the less so against the Cthulhu OTK Druid, but with the lack of Twisting Nether, that can do some serious work.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so this matchup, it's pretty rough for Reno Mage just because I think Reno Mages pride themselves on having the strength to basically answer all the minions, but Dragon Priest, especially against the slower deck, can basically just discover a million of them
Ooh.
and very hard ones to remove too.
How about that choice? It looks like the Holy Champion. Yeah, I was gonna say that
Yeah,
might
why
be the
not?
best one, just to have a 4 drop. I mean, it's
Synergizes
not
with
bad.
Reno and Mistress of Mixtures Refreshment Vendor. I mean, these sound like jokes, but they could actually be serious at some point.
Yeah, all right. Twilight Guardian seems like the pretty easy play this turn. You really want to save at least because the big combo that you really want to put together with Dragon Priest if this matchup goes long is if you can get Bran plus Netherspite plus Draconid out. That's Draconid Operative. That's just such a huge because I mean you're playing 3 minions and you're getting four cards into your hand, which is just
Yeah.
such a big deal.
Yeah, I think the way for Kicked Tripod to win is actually, as far as Reno mages go, I think there's actually a window in front of Kicked Tripod that can lead to a win, and it involves basically the combination between Alexstrasza and Reno is being able to survive if the board clears aren't good enough, and being able to potentially kill as well. But in the meantime, I mean, there's a really beefy board in front.
Yeah, that's a really scary board. And I mean, you hate to have the rest of your turn just being hero powering this 2-1,
Yeah.
but that looks like that's what has to happen.
Yeah, it's not the worst for Kick Tripod does have Thalnos and Arcane Blast if that can ever get squeezed in. The Babbling Book's actually not irrelevant.
Oh,
In that
Firelands
case.
Portal looks like a fantastic pick there.
Yeah, if Dragon Priest could play this card, it probably would.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think a lot of decks would play this card if they could.
Hmm. So Kick Tripod can kill with a Thalnos Blast and Ping. The question is that good enough, or is it time to stall with a Frost Nova? The problem is there's nothing much better to look forward to after stalling with the Nova.
Yeah,
There's
this is one where
no
you
Blizzard.
Yeah, this is one where you
Strike.
really wish you had. I mean, the way he would come back is like when faced with a situation like this, where if he could Frost Nova Doomsayer and then the next turn have something like a Faceless Summoner or like a strong 6 or 5 drop to put down, like that's how you can really swing this matchup around. But he just doesn't have that at all.
Yeah, so it's just gonna stall to fend off the damage, which is an okay plan, but I don't know if it's going to work too well. I think the Frost Nova could have been interesting if there was maybe Dirty Rat into it, but maybe that's just putting too much for them after the Nova because you can't really deal with it after.
Right, and that becomes an issue. And just meanwhile, we see all these minions coming out and just getting more in hand. I mean, you see that Ysera is just so good at locking down the late game. I mean, he's left. I mean, and this is the issue that really kind of defines this matchup is that Kick Tripod has the ability to pretty much remove one minion per turn, like one reasonably sized minion per turn, and we see Salt is able to play like 2 on average each turn.
Yeah.
So it's just that just eventually really gets out of hand.
This is kind of an interesting turn from Tripod. Freezes the operative down, maybe not even so much to kill it, but just to save the damage again. Maybe it was better to just hold on to Frostbolt and just use the Blast, because Blast is always better to use with Thalnos before Frostbolt, because Frostbolt's kind of good on its own.
Yeah, and they do the same amount of damage. I mean, with a
Yeah.
Thalnos. So here it looked like he was mousing over the Firelands Portal, but I mean, just having a 1/3 being able to kill a 1/1 just feels like too good a value. We do see a Flame Strike come into hand, so we'll have to see how well Salt decides to play around that card. My suspicion is he will heal the operative.
Yeah, the Holy Nova's pretty good for healing and not too useful against the boards that the Reno Mage would do, but I mean, they can kind of come in handy if there's ever Alexstrasza. That's kind of the way you lose. But
Yeah,
he gets the heal on the minions plus the damage, I guess.
And especially with the second one in hand, it feels a lot better. And this is going to have to force out a Reno. I don't know if there's too much choice. Like you know that your opponent has one of your cards, so and I mean you do run burn because you're a Reno mage, so it's very possible that if you do anything except Reno, you might be dead.
Yeah,
but it looks like he's not doing that.
I think the Holy Nova, it looks bad on the one hand, but I think the 2 damage that Salt put through was actually kind of relevant, because if one of the 3 power minions gets dealt with completely, then Salt does have lethal just with the other Holy Nova. But he has Firelands Portal too, so it looks like he's just gonna surprise a lethal.
Yeah, the Firelands Portal will be lethal because that's 6, 7 plus 5. Yeah, so he's 1 over lethal with this play. So yeah, we're seeing, I mean, kind of to no one's surprise, the Dragon Priest taking
Yeah.
on the Reno Mage. Very favored matchup. So if you're
Feels
Kick
bad to die with
Tripod,
Reno in your hand, though. There was definitely some more life to that game, and Reno's just a really good body against Dragon Priest. So had Reno been played, maybe the Flame Strike could have been set up for, and then maybe Alex Strauss could have come down in somewhat of a comfortable position. So I don't know. It seemed
yeah,
like there was potential there, but it was definitely a tough spot to be in because you're in the point where the Dragon Priest builds up its beefy board, and you kind of have to be clearing it, and it's just always awkward because they're so huge.
yeah. Now a very quick read queue, and that's a little bit interesting because you normally, well, frequently you'll see a little bit more thought put into what decks are coming out. It looks like, oh, it looks like we're going to see, yeah, unfortunately, a mage come out here into what looks to be just a pretty standard Jade Druid. I mean, we saw 2 Jade Behemoths there in the Mulligan. Now this matchup is just, it's one of the most one-sided matchups that I've ever seen personally.
Yeah, the times that I ever see a Reno mage be able to win is when they kind of curve out like a tempo mage and get like a Kazakus potion, which can resummon those good minions that they've played, like Water Elemental and random 3-drop type
Yeah, no,
deals.
yeah, I think, yeah, and that's true. And I think Vicious Syndicate though has this as something like an 85% win rate.
It's pretty brutal.
It's pretty good for Druid. But we see here now something I just wanted to mention. Something that is often derided is the coin wild growth, and often I would agree, but it's been seen a little bit more recently because the coin wild growth into Jade Blossom is actually one of the few situations in which coining a wild growth is a strong play.
Yeah, it seems really good. With
As
the
the
follow up, I
option,
mean, there's
yeah.
nothing much for 5 mana here. I think, yeah, Salt doesn't even want to use that Jade Idol with the Fandral.
There's no need to at this stage of the game because and I think the decision is really Feral Rage to clear the Earthen Ring.
Yeah, sure.
I don't see any reason not to personally because the tempo the mage isn't going to start pressuring you until much later in the game.
Yeah, there's also, I mean, if Fandral gets played, do you play the Jade Idol? Because shuffling them is kind of bad.
Yeah, it does dilute your draws, like your potential draws for the remainder of the game. One of the something that the line of play that I would typically see people take is to play one of them as sort of just a +1/+1 buffer to all of your future Jade
Yes.
Idols, but then also to just hold one until the very end of the game where you have Gadget Sand, and then you can have a turn where you play like 6 golems all in one turn. I think that's the more popular approach, but right here, I mean, it won't turn out too poorly because we're going to see curving out right into Aya or Emperor Thorson.
Yeah,
is also
Emperor, who actually can't be dealt with. Well, now he can.
well, as you say, yeah. The now Emperor's kind of I haven't seen Emperor in a Jade Druid before. I'm a little bit interested. What are
Me
your
neither.
thoughts on that?
It makes sense for auctioneer shenanigans, maybe. Um,
I mean, we do see him running Living Roots, which is something you see as maybe a one of sometimes, but
yeah, yeah.
it's a little interesting. But here we're just going to see the Aya hero power, pretty clear play, and this is at the point where Aya starts to get so much value. The
Right before
summoning,
Flame Strike.
yeah, 8/6
Blizzard's not
8/6 of
much.
stats. Yeah, 8/6 of stats with the death rattle of summon a 4/4. I mean, it's just is really incredibly strong.
Yeah, and Kick Tripod can't afford to wait for the Bran combo. Bran's gonna have to go down with. Hopefully, Kazakus would show up for Kick Tripod's state. The
Yeah, you're
Blizzard's
really
interesting because, well, it doesn't really do anything.
yeah, that's true because the flame strike will kill exactly the same. I mean, maybe he's thinking that he won't have to use the flame strike if he does this instead. Is the possible, and then he can just use things like Arcane Blast and Hero Power maybe to do sort of what Flame Strike would do in one turn over 2 turns, but I'm not.
Oh my
100%
god.
sure.
Oh, I thought that was Kazakus. It's just Crystal's.
Yeah, I mean it's still not terrible comboed with Bran.
No, definitely not. There's a lot of shenanigans that can get pulled off. There's lots of random 1 mana priest cards, 1 mana Mage cards, 1 mana Warlock cards, Mortal Coil.
Oh, Mortal Coil is pretty handy in this situation.
Sure. Yeah, you could take out the 3/1 and yeah, maybe force the Aya trade into Bran, at least potentially.
Museum Curator's actually almost a little bit scary in Mage because you have a huge chance of
Oh,
getting. Oh, that is such a big pick.
I mean, sure. Why not?
I mean, yeah, just kill a 5/1. Don't allow the death rattle. I mean, that's really strong. I was gonna
It's
say
better
Museum
than anything
Curator.
else.
Yeah, Museum Curator is occasionally a little not in that situation because the picks were obvious, but the Museum Curator can be scary in Mage because it actually gives you a really huge chance of picking up Ronin. I mean, your other chance is picking up the Anomalous, which isn't nearly as
Right.
good, but you could
Wow,
see
double
Ronin.
innervates get picked up. Maybe Kalento's onto something by cutting them. I don't think he
Yeah.
is, but
I mean, you never know. Kalento
oh,
is the original Mr. Hearthstone.
oh, and something I was gonna say, since Kick Tripods picked up the Alex Straza, is it's actually I think one of the reasons that Druids is so especially favored against Reno Mages that Reno Mages' main option of winning the bad matchup just comes down to Alex Straza burn, but then they have Feral Rage, which is probably gonna have to get used here, which is good news for Tripod.
Yeah. Oh man, Salt needs an auctioneer to come up pretty soon here. Oh, speak of the devil. Look at that.
Wow, that is exactly what he needed. Like the innervates were just horrible
Yeah,
without
that's the
this.
caster curse right there.
Yeah. So
Choosing to go
Nourish
for
to
the
draw,
Nourish.
why not? Draw 4 cards, and then he's got the ability to innervate Feral Rage Living Roots.
Yeah, I mean, or even, I mean, there's the double living roots option, and hero power if you don't mind taking 5. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's fine.
Wow,
There's
and he's got
also
the brand now to pair with the Jade Spirit. It's
oh
just
yeah, this is beginning to look harder and harder for a kick tripod to come back in this
yeah.
one.
And there's lots of Jade Idols in the deck, so you could just summon one. I think it's a 4/4 by now because Aya got silenced.
Yeah, that is a 4/4. You can't kill the oh if you
Yeah,
use the feral rage you can kill that. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, you're just dropping 3 Jade Idols next turn, or you're dropping 3 new Jade Golems next turn if you really want to, and that'll get him up to a 7/7, which is really strong.
Wow, if that auctioneer couldn't have come or any draw, you would have been dead in the water for a little while. And now
Yeah, he
Kick
would have.
Tripod's basically forced to do the Flame Strike and probably just squeeze in Babbling Book while you're at it because, well,
You might
Brand's
as well.
gone.
Yeah, gonna do the Babbling Book first. Very
Yeah,
smart. Arcane Explosion doesn't do a whole lot right now.
no, not too
Yeah,
much.
it's just gonna be a Flame Strike, maybe Ice Block, but more than likely.
Okay,
Hero
the
Power.
Ice Block is going to get squeezed in on another turn, which is kind of weird because I don't know what this ping means necessarily. I'm guessing Alex Strauss would be what you'd want to do ASAP.
Yeah, I guess it's all it represents is just a little bit more damage. I mean, just in case he doesn't have time to use the Alex Strauss.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's really a rough situation anyway you cut it. But yeah, we do see a 5/5, 6/6, 7/7 coming down this turn, and that's such a hard board for Reno Mage to remove. Because I mean, Reno Lock is able to. I mean, it's still a bad matchup, but they're at least able to do something with things like Power Overwhelming Shadow Flame and Twisting Nether. But Mage doesn't have a whole lot to come back from this situation outside of getting a lucky Frost Nova Doomsayer off this late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just really unlikely. So I think we're going to see this game wrapping up in the next few turns. We're going to see the concede come out of Kick Tripod, or just bigger and bigger Jade Golem simply killing him. That's another option.
Yeah, it's just too hard at this point. The Flame Strike happened. It was a good Flame Strike, and now, yeah, these resort to Kona Cold and just Ice Block to hold on to dear life. There's Alex Strauss and the Feral Rage got used, but there's no burn to follow it up.
Yeah, and right here we could potentially see the trade in of the Jade Behemoth and then just the Jade Spirit coming out to summon
Yeah,
an
just
8,
to make
8, and
room.
9.
Yeah, the swipe was great, but just to make room.
Oh, a little bit of maybe procedural error here. Wild
Yep.
Growthing second. You always want to draw first. Draw first, kids. It's the most important lesson. Although it's
Yes.
actually to the point where locally, when I play at Fireside Gatherings and things, anyone who plays Warlock against me will actually wait to use the Warlock hero power as the very final thing they do, just because they know it bothers me so much.
All right. Well, I mean,
So there is a
there is some
space for
reason for that
gamesmanship.
then.
There's space for gamesmanship there, and yeah, we are just going to see the concede coming out
Yeah,
with kick
despite
tripod.
despite having the ice block up, kick tripod was going to get popped and not have much to say about. Although I wonder if Alex Strauss was played and Alex Strauss was forced to be traded into, would that have helped? I don't think so,
I
because
mean,
I think the
it
block still got popped with any
yeah,
damage.
I mean it couldn't have hurt because it would have
It
resulted
just
in
wasn't completely lost there, but it was more or less lost. So yeah, I mean, hey, the mage has its hope for its good matchup now that the bad ones are weeded out.
yeah, we'll have to see how this rogue. Now this is actually I'm not sure with the rogue versus Reno Mage. I'm not sure on the exact statistics of that one, but just from personal feeling, that feels kind of almost like a toss up, maybe a slight advantage toward the mage, but if there's any, not very much.
I've always felt pretty close to the mage's side. Um, while Rogue is Miracle Rogue, it's still kind of a pirate deck, and they deal well against the pirate decks, and they have what's needed to take out the bigger stuff too. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of getting it being a Reno deck.
yeah. Now here we're going to see this dragon warrior once again. I'm kind of, and just like we were talking before, I'm kind of I don't want to say confused by the prevalence of Dragon Warrior over Pirate Warrior, but it just is a little bit interesting to me because I feel, especially when your opponent's not running a warrior in their lineup, I mean, and you're banning the shaman, I mean, those are the two main reasons to run Dragon Warrior over Pirate Warrior, I would think.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not too sure. I'm also not too sure about. Oh, while kick tripod's odds of top decking a play are probably pretty high, coining out the monkey.
Thank you.
Maybe it's just the way to go, but I don't know. I'd be wary
I mean, I
about
guess
that.
from his point of view, you have to put together some sort of board presence, and you have a significant portion of your top end in your hand already, so your odds of drawing something you can play the next turn are very high. I maybe was his thinking, and especially against Rogue, like you can't let them have any sort of early game. Like
Yeah.
even though this is probably a little bit favored towards the Dragon Warrior, it's not nearly as much as it would be toward the Pirate Warrior, and especially with the relative openings we're seeing, it's looking like it's shifting further and further in
Yeah.
the towards the side of advantage for the Rogue.
Yeah, it's very fair game to be playing Rogue versus Dragon Warrior because it's kind of a mid-rangey deck. Rogue tends to do well against mid-rangey decks, and wow, Salt really goes the extra mile to protect this huge Tomb Pillager.
Yeah, that is a
Which
big one.
I think it's fine, actually.
I haven't seen I haven't seen a Rampage since the day of the old Worgen OTK deck. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's funny what you can do sometimes with Rogue
Alright.
pickups. That
So-
fan's interesting. I would have expected it to be Drake
Yeah, and
every time.
8 push to face, but now here the Dragon Warrior I guess has a little bit of a chance to come back. I mean, being able to use the Korkron to trade
Yeah.
into this 8/4 at that same time you're leaving yourself with effectively no board, but I mean at least it's something.
That's
You're
what
in
you
a better
gotta do.
position than you were.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm really curious about that Azure Drake though. Not
Yeah, I
playing
mean,
it over the fan. He would have
yeah.
gotten through the Fierce Monkey either way. Just would have taken his face. Maybe he didn't want to use his face.
Yeah, I suppose he'd. I mean, in an aggro matchup, I can see being wary of no healing like Miracle Rogue. I can understand being a little bit wary of playing out of taking damage to face when you feel you don't have to. Here we're gonna see an
Alright.
extremely strong turn
With
this
limited
questing
removal.
Pointed to Tomb Pillager. Yeah, exactly. With limited removal in the deck, you
Yeah.
feel you need to.
Yeah, I
But-
think this is the way to go. Just make the 4/4 questing now and make them deal with it. It's pretty hard for them not to with no weapon up and no board. And
Yeah, and
one
especially
Korkron was used.
as now that you have 4 health, you're out of range of that card that was just drawn on the side of the warrior, the Blackwing Corruptor. So this is looking more and more, yeah, shifting into Salt's favor, and we could see another 3-0.
We
Possibly.
certainly could. Yeah, so kick tripod's best play overall is just probably the crusher. Just
Yeah, the
because it
Crusher
has
and
6
Prey.
health. I mean, you're always kind of wary because it can get sapped, but that's kind of the case for everything. Or maybe he just really wants to draw to find who knows what to help deal with this.
Yeah, and that is not the turn you're wanting to have as a pirate warrior in this matchup.
Right.
The coin could be used for a little extra damage, but I think we're likely just to see this Azure Drake cleared off in whatever way Salt sees fit. Now, what do you think? It's better to just go all face? Do you think we trade, or yeah, it looks like he's planning on just hitting face? And I guess why not, right? You've got a dominating board. You've
Yeah.
got Leroy in hand.
There's not much
So-
reason to trade because there's no need. There's no need to protect the questing because all these need to die. The Drake trading into one of the 4 health minions or the Tomb Pillager is probably going to happen anyway. So if any one of these sticks, it just seems like there's too many things that Kick Tripod needs to do in order to stabilize at this point. And Salt's got Leroy, so I think he just locks up the win entirely by doing this.
Yeah, he just wants to push the damage and just
Yeah.
pushing as much damage as possible. And we're going to see kind of a desperation slam come out here, looking for something, anything that can help out, and it'll help set up a kill. So
Yeah.
he'll no longer be dead on board, but
Take out
there's
the
a
2
Leroy.
minions, but yeah, thanks to going face last turn, Salt set up the lethal, which wouldn't have existed if he had traded. Well, he could have traded the questing and gotten this result.
Yeah,
No,
I
he couldn't
believe
have. If he missed 5 damage in any sense.
Well, that's true. That's true. But yeah, so the face play ended up being correct, and so yeah, while not technically dead on board, Kickpod will die to this Leroy here, and that will be our second series over. Another 3-0.
Yeah, Salt was just able to secure the tempo where Kick's Tripod couldn't, mainly because of the build with the heavier minions. If it was just a Pirate Warrior, I mean, it would have been a huge lopsided matchup, but I
Yeah,
think
and
that Kick's Tripod favored this Warrior because of Priest, probably.
More than likely. Now, something kind of interesting with that game. One of the strengths of Miracle Rogue is just its ability to really, if even though it's kind of unfavored versus aggro against almost anything except maybe Pirate Warrior, if your opponent as aggro has one even kind of dead turn early on, you can really turn things in your favor. And we saw exactly that happen in this last game, where the response to a counterfeit coin Tomb Pillager was simply a Sir Finley and hero power, and that turn really gave Salt the opening he needed to firmly take the game into his own control.
Yeah, those games were something. The Reno Mage is very interesting with the ban strategies. I think people might underestimate exactly how important that is in Conquest. If playing Reno Mage, Shaman, the good matchup versus Shaman, that's one of the reasons to play Reno Mage. I think it's the best reason to play Reno Mage.
Yes. Yeah, and it's good matchups against Shaman and Reno Lock particularly are pretty much the reasons why you want to run it in this meta at all.
Yeah. So something I think the match could have been closer. It's just the band didn't really line up with the decks built. So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it is still only about 2 months out from Mean Streets being released, so maybe some people are still kind of getting a hang of the relative bans and the relative matchups. So I mean that's a possible explanation for what we're seeing. But yeah, so I actually though believe that someone somewhere was looking out for me, because they knew that the first 2 series are just kind of a formality, and I'm sure I'm not alone when I say I'm really looking forward to this Hunter. I just really want to see this Hunter played on the big stage, no less.
Me too, but it seems like similar to the last series, since we've moved so fast and people aren't prepared to be on at the times which they were told, which don't count for these results because they're far from average, we might have to go to another break
All right,
for the
well,
match
let's
between
just-
Rogue JT and Ham.
we can force him to watch more commercials, I guess.
Oh yeah, we got lots of commercials. We're partnered on Twitch and everything. We make money off this, and we keep it all to ourselves. The community doesn't get it at all. So
Yeah, we're basically turning
yeah.
into the NFL. Expect next week for there actually to be a commercial break in between each individual turn of the game.
That's terrible. Anyway, I think we'll cut the break right now just to let the delay maximally catch up. So sorry for the breaks. That's very untypical, but that's gonna be that for this week. It seems like cuts it up good for YouTube,
That's true. That's true. It makes it easy.
which we don't normally do. So yeah, I think we'll be back. Stay posted to Facebook.